Hey, the playoffs are starting. The 49ers are there. Guess who they're playing? The Seattle Seahawks. Third time this season. Jason and I are going to tell you why you probably shouldn't be too worried about it. New Sprint Right Option Podcast starts now.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. Sprint Right Option Podcast. It is a new episode of the Sprint Right Option Podcast. I am, as always, Andrew Pasquini. And to my right, as always, it's Jason Aponte. Jason Aponte, how are you doing on this lovely Friday evening? I hope it's not raining as much where you are as it is here.
It's actually warm over here, and I'm just, as a 49er fan, getting ready for this matchup with the Green Bay Packers. Oh, wait, they fucking suck and nobody cares. So, yeah, it's the Seattle Seahawks, right? Because they absolutely choked. So, yeah, I had to get one more shot in on Aaron Rodgers, who's an absolute fraud, and he is living off a reputation that people have of him, and he is not good in big games.
There we go. There's the Aaron Rodgers slander I wasn't expecting today. I was going to open the podcast with like personal good news. It's a Jollibee night. Like that's pretty electric. Yeah, dude, we're doing Jollibee tonight.
Jamie's fried chicken in the crib.
Hell yeah. Oh, dude, and spaghetti, dude. Good spaghetti. What? Good mishmash here tonight in the Pasquini household, I guess. There's the news I was excited to share before we got in and started talking about this Niners-Seahawks game. And Jason, we're just going to get right into it. I really think that's the best place to go. This is a playoff game. We're supposed to be a little more serious. Things are amped up. Real fans are going to the game tomorrow. Damn it! And
if you don't sit there and get on and raid, you're not a real 49ers fan, man. Shut the fuck up, man. Oh my god.
But. No, anyways, let's get it serious because I feel like there's a lot of talking points in this game. Whether it is the weather, because it is a talking point, right? There's supposed to be a good amount of rain tomorrow in Santa Clara. We've seen what the Niners look like in the rain the past couple of years. Spoiler, it hasn't been great, but that's okay. The Niners are better than the Seahawks once again. That's going to be a theme here. We could talk about Brock Purdy's first career playoff game against Geno Smith's first career playoff game. We could also talk about the Niners trying to become, I believe, I think it's the 15th team to finish 3-0 against a divisional opponent. Yeah. So there's a lot of places to talk about. Where do you want to start, Jason? Because I feel like there's a lot to talk about.
Well, I guess let's just stomp out the narrative of, it's hard to beat teams 3 times in a season. And I think the easiest way to do this is to compare the team that you're facing for the third time. Again, we all have horrible memories of what happened last year. But I would imply that the Rams were much closer to the 49ers that year than Seattle is this year. Now, look, the rain is the ultimate equalizer and can change things and can make things weird. But in terms of where these teams are, there's a reason that the 49ers and Seahawks were added to the first game as opposed to being the showcase. The NFL looks crazy right now. Sunday Night Football is going to be the Joe Burrow-led defending AFC champions against the Tyler Huntley-led Baltimore Ravens. I think that's a good indication of where the NFL believes this game is going to be. And, as long as the 49ers play their game, I don't see any reason for any sort of panic, any sort of concern. Obviously, nothing's a sure bet. Mm-hmm. It's the NFL. And credit to Seattle Seahawks. They've had a hell of a season. They've made it here, on their own volition, right? Like they beat the Rams and, Aaron Rodgers choked because he's not that guy. And, I want to keep pounding that table. But it's still 49ers clear them at almost every single position, roster-wise, everything. And I think a lot, again, Andrew Pasquini, when we talk about the Seattle Seahawks, it's the PTSD of what has happened as opposed to what is really in front of you at this point. And I think that's where we should talk.
Yeah, I do actually, real quick, before we tell you every reason the Niners are going to beat the Seahawks tomorrow, like shout out the Seahawks because they were supposed to be what the Bears were. People projected them to have the first overall pick after losing Russell Wilson. And for them to be here kind of shows you how, remember last year, maybe one of the sneaky, most horrendous takes in sprint right option history. Remember when I came on this podcast and said Pete Carroll is the worst head coach in the NFC West? Boy, oh boy,
It's victory lap time. It's victory lap time.
Oh, we talking Kingsbury now. We'll get to
Kingsbury. No, not that. Jason Aponte. This Jason Aponte told you very early on in the season that the Seattle Seahawks weren't going anywhere and they were a playoff team. Did I expect them to make the playoffs in the fashion that they made it?
No.
I got a lot of comments about, well, Seattle's going to fall off, and you know what they did? You know what? So credit to those people. But I said Seattle was going to be in the playoffs, and they weren't going anywhere. So you know what? For as much as you guys give me shit about what I get wrong, you damn right I'm going to take this opportunity to lap up what I get right. And I told you that Seattle wasn't going anywhere. They're a good team that smashed their draft. Geno's playing well. Franchise leader in passing yards in a season. Take that, Russell Wilson. Carroll's done an amazing job this year. Good for them, man. Good for Seattle. Good for them. It's sad that their season has to end at the hands of the 49ers on Saturday. But good for them. Because you guys love to let me know you were wrong about Greenlaw. You were wrong about Hufanga. You were wrong about Purdy. Cool. Was I about some of those things? We'll talk about that in a bit, I guess.
Yeah, but we'll get to the all-pro stuff at the end.
I was not wrong about this one. So victory. Yes.
I was very wrong because I said maybe Pete Carroll was the worst coach in the NFC West, and that just proves to be wrong considering he's still here. He's still doing what he's been doing, and Cliff Kingsbury is not. But Jason, I mentioned at the top, 14 teams in NFL history have gone 3-0 against a division opponent. I just really want to reiterate how much the Niners have dominated the Seattle Seahawks this season.
Go for it.
In their 17 games this season, the Seahawks scored 407 points. That comes out to a 24-point per game average. 9th in the league, not horrible. That's a respectable offense, in my opinion, Jason. But if you take the 2 games the Seahawks played against the 49ers, they averaged 10 points per game. And that number drops to 6.5 per game if you count the points the Seahawks offense scored against the Niners defense. Because if you remember back in week 2, when the Seahawks blocked a Robbie Gould field goal, ran it back for a touchdown, that was their only touchdown of the game. Not only that, do the Niners dominate in the points per game category, they also dominate in the yards per game because the Seahawks, they were 13th in the league in yards per game. They more than 300 yards per game, or actually, to be exact, 351 yards per game. And their 2 games against the Niners, they had 246 yards per game. That's a 105-yard drop off in 2 games. Like, that's not an insignificant amount. I really want to stress it that I know a lot of people are talking to you about 3-0 versus division, how rare it happens. 14-9. That's teams' records going into a game where they have a chance to sweep. And let me actually give you something that might make you feel a little better. This is a little random stat. Do you know who the last team to finish 7-0 against a division team was?
Seattle.
No, it was not. It was actually the 2008 Pittsburgh Steelers. They finished 3-0 against the Ravens after sweeping their division. Do you know what the 2008 Steelers did that year?
They won a Super Bowl.
Not only did they win a Super Bowl, they won their 6th Super Bowl.
Damn.
Just throwing it out there. The Niners have a chance to go 7-0 against the division to win their 6th Super Bowl.
And who was the only player to throw a touchdown pass in that Super Bowl? Andrew Pasquini, off the top of your head.
Oh my God, you're making me go back 2000. I'm assuming it's Roethlisberger since we're bringing it up, right?
Heinz Ward.
Oh my God, you're right. Baby. Yes, wow. What a
Heinz Ward, baby.
Guy.
No. Not Heinz Ward. Not Heinz Ward.
Antoine Randall
Indiana Hoosier legend, Antoine Randall L. I apologize.
Yes, no, but Heinz Ward caught it.
Heinz Ward did catch it. But Antoine Randall L. was the one who threw it. Ben Roethlisberger won his first Super Bowl without throwing a touchdown pass, which seems to be the theme with 49ers quarterbacks in the playoffs somehow, right?
Oh, by the way, speaking of playoff game, I saw this right before the podcast started. Did you see who the Niners activated today?
Oh, yes, I did. Go for
Janoris Jenkins and Tevin Coleman. It's a Tevin Coleman game, maybe?
Tevin Coleman
I love
game.
it.
The do-rag is out. Seattle, you stand no chance now at this point. That is literally the Stone Cold Steve Austin glass breaking, and it's Tevin Coleman walking down the runway to get 5 carries and score 2 touchdowns on you, to finish the game off.
Dude, I would love that.
It's look, man. We can posture and sit here all day about, hey, the Seattle Seahawks, it's the playoffs, it's the rain. Come on, man. At what point do we start to get to a point where it's like reality's in front of you?
Yeah.
Seattle is not anywhere near the 49ers level. And if the 49ers lose this game, which they won't, it'll be because they played the worst game of their season. Yes. I don't care about elements. They could play this shit in the snow, in the rain, in the blazing heat of the sun. One way or another, the 49ers find a way to get this done. And Pete Carroll, let me talk to you real quick. I see you. I know exactly what you're doing. And if I know, the 49ers know. Stop with the whole, we're just happy to be here. Oh, they're really good. Get that bullshit out of here, man. Oh, my God, man. That is like the worst thing that you could do at this point. That is literally the equivalent of a fan that's a friend of yours, right? Let's say you have a friend who is a Seattle fan and he knows that his team isn't going to win, but he just says, hey, you know what? I'm happy to be here. You guys deserve to win. And if something goes the other way, he's going to talk crazy shit. Pete Carroll, I see you. Yeah. Get that shit out of here, man. Nobody believes any of that, man. This team hates you, hates that franchise, hates that roster. Yeah. They are not going to sleep on you one way or another, man. Andrew, go for it.
I think that's a very experienced head coach doing what he's trying to do.
I like it.
And I get it. I love it. It's a gamesmanship. Jason, I want to say this stat too, because this is something I didn't think about. The Seahawks have faced Deebo Samuel and they have faced Christian McCaffrey. They haven't faced both at the same time yet. Just throwing that out there as well. The Niners have had Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey in 7 games, playing in the same game together 7 times this season. If you take out the Christian McCaffrey's debut game against the Chiefs and last week against the Cardinals, where Deebo Samuel was just, he was essentially getting back to game speed. That's 5 games, right? 5 games where we got in full Christian McCaffrey and full Deebo Samuel together. In 3 of those 5 games, they've combined for 200 total yards. It's just there's so many things. And Jim Everett, shout out, we love you.
Shout out my guy. Hey, McVay's back.
McVay's back. He just said that. We love it.
Hey, I love it. You know what, man? Shout out to Jim Everett, man. He trolls you guys in the comments, but he is truly a person who shows love, and I appreciate that.
We love him. We love him. But I just, every stat I seem to find about this game, because I've been trying to do what a lot of people have been doing, and what I did in week 2 of hey man, it's the Seahawks. You never know. Every stat I have found just tells me that the Seahawks are not the Niners, and this is a game, and this is how I protect myself. This is a game that 99 times, I think, out of 100, maybe 90 out of 100. Name the last rookie to name a.
I got it. Hold on. Wait, I hit the button, Mr. Trebek.
Okay, you got it. I think it's Rodgers now, right? Isn't Rodgers doing Jeopardy now?
No. Yeah. No. It's the guy who won all those Jeopardy things or whatever. But yeah. Look, I hit the buzzer. Me?
Got you. Who was it?
Okay. Who is Russell Wilson in 2012 against the Washington football team?
Oh! Yes, that would be right. But so let me close out my point about the 99 of 100. Then we could talk about Purdy, because I got some numbers. This could be a game where I think 90 out of 100 times the Niners beat the Seahawks. Maybe tomorrow's one of those 10 times. Maybe. I don't think it is. So every stat I've seen has shown me that I think the Niners can win this. And I don't think it's going to be particularly close. But let's get to Brock Purdy, because now that's the story a lot of people care about. And that's back to the last rookie quarterback to win a playoff game. There's been 8, actually. Rookie quarterbacks are 8-18 in the playoffs. Only 6 have won their first ever playoff game like Brock Purdy has.
Mm-hmm.
Can I name those 6 for you, Jason?
Go for it.
Sean King, Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco, Mark Sanchez, TJ Yates, and as you mentioned, Russell Wilson. Out of those 6 games, can you tell me which quarterback had the most passing yards and how many? Sean King, Ben Roethlisberger, Flacco, Sanchez, Yates, Wilson. Who had the most passing yards in those 6 rookie wins?
This is completely shot out of a cannon, out of the blue, and I'm going to be wrong. TJ Yates.
How many passing yards do you think that number would be?
265.
So out of the 6 quarterbacks I listed, the 6 quarterbacks to win their first ever playoff game as a rookie, Russell Wilson threw for the most passing yards with 187.
So I was wrong completely.
The most points scored against the winning quarterback in those games was against Ben Roethlisberger, 17. So here's kind of the formula with a rookie winning a game in a playoff game. It's not too much yards and the defense not giving up a ton of points. Okay. And I can think of a team that has a quarterback that doesn't throw for a ton of yards, that has a defense that I mentioned before has allowed 6.5 points in 2 games of the Seattle Seahawks offense, Jason Aponte.
Mm-hmm.
That team is the 49ers.
Yeah.
So I understand the concern. I get it. Another thing I want to point out too, and this is the stat I texted you yesterday. I texted the chat. I thought this was so interesting. Do you know what Brock Purdy's average game has been since he took over for Jimmy Garoppolo against the Miami Dolphins?
200 yards and 2 touchdowns.
218 yards, 2 touchdowns, and half of an interception. Do you know what he did against the Seattle Seahawks in Week 15?
I'm sure
217, 2 touchdowns, no interception. Brock Purdy's literal average game beat Seattle in Seattle to win the NFC West. And I'm supposed to be concerned that he is going to lose on tomorrow because he is a rookie making his first playoff start? Once again, you guys can tell me whatever you want to try and make me believe the Niners are going to lose this game because the Seattle Seahawks are across the field. Yeah. I have literally any stat I want to give you. I'll tell you my one concern in a bit about the Seahawks, but I have one concern about the Seahawks, and that's it. I'm not concerned about this game tomorrow. I think the Niners should win.
This sounds like Andrew Pasquini is doing the Jason Aponte thing in terms of completely trashing the opponent and dismissing them. But you know what? Allow me to pile on.
Okay.
It's supposed to rain, right? You know, and you're not a real fan if you don't want to go and get rained on, by the way, I was told. But that would imply that the 49ers would have to run the ball, in which they ran it 30 times the last time they faced the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle in a game that wasn't particularly close in their stadium.
Yes.
But let me throw some more stats at you.
Yes.
The Seattle Seahawks allow they're 28th in the league in runs towards the left tackle with 6 per game. There's a good left tackle that the 49ers have. They're 28th in the league. Yes. Up the middle, they are 30th in the league with 5.12 yards per game. They are 26th in the league in 5.18 behind the right guard. Andrew Pasquini, I've got a hard time trying to figure out why you should be nervous.
Yes.
Why we should be scared. You know, Jason Aponte always tells you division games are weird.
Yeah.
Playoff games are even stranger, but at the same time, the discrepancy between this team and the 49ers is too large to ignore. The 49ers roll in this game. I'm sorry. Yeah. The 49ers fucking roll in this game, guys. I want you guys to understand that you being humble, understanding that the NFL is a strange game, things happen, weird things happen, the weather can be an equalizer. Yeah. I still don't want you to lose your confidence going into this game because the 49ers losing this game would have to be something completely disastrous. And that doesn't seem like it's in the cards based on the defense And if it's raining for the 49ers offense, it's raining for the Seattle offense.
Yes.
It's not like the 49ers are giving it up on the ground. So run Kenneth Walker 20 times into -1 runs and whatever, and 1-yard runs, all you want. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I agree with Andrew here, man. I shit on the Green Bay Packers because they're frauds, and Aaron Rodgers is a fraud, by the way. Because in win or go home games, he's pretty trash. And there's a long history of it. Because if you look at the last game that the Packers played, Aaron Rodgers played like shit in that game, by the way. But I would be way more nervous if Aaron Rodgers is in this game.
Absolutely.
If the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers was in this game, I'd be way more scared because Aaron Rodgers is a much better quarterback than Geno Smith is. So for me, I get it. You want to be humble. You want to understand that the NFL is driven off parity. You understand that the playoffs are, the Pete Carroll, his team, he's going to have them ready to go, all that stuff. I get it. But stop sleeping on your own team at this point. Like, at this point, stop sleeping on your own team. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, and you mentioned Kenneth Walker, too. He was a concern for me going into the Week 15 game because when the Niners played in Week 2, he wasn't established as the Seahawks starter, so I was curious to see what he would do. 12 carries for 47 yards. I don't think that's going to be any different, especially if the Niners jump out to a big lead. Now, has he had 3 consecutive games of 100-plus yards? Yeah. Have they been against the Niners defense? No, it's against Kansas City, who has a decent defense, the Jets, who have a good defense, and the Rams, who whatever. So yeah, he can, in theory, have a big game, but the Niners defense just doesn't allow big run games. Let me tell you about
Andrew.
Yes.
Kenneth Walker started that game with a 35-yard run.
Yes, he did.
The Seattle Seahawks ended with 70 rushing yards.
Walker finished with 47. Specifically,
what on earth am I supposed to be worried about with this running game?
Exactly, and that leads me to the one concern, and it's kind of been the concern for a few years now. A little more concerning with Russell Wilson, but less concerning with Geno Smith, but a concern because of how the 49ers secondary is played, and that's DK Metcalf, and that's Tyler Lockett. I'm not as concerned as DK Metcalf. I'm not. Because we saw what Mooney Ward did against him in Week 15, 25 of Metcalf's 35 snaps. Ward was against him. He didn't do much. What I am concerned about is the other one. What's his name? Lockett. Forgot his name for a second there.
How'd you forget him?
I don't know, man. People remember Lockett as a slot receiver. What if I told you he took a career high 342 snaps on the outside and finished under 200 snap slots for the second time in his career, which means we're going to see a lot of Lenore. And not that Lenore's bad. It's just there's been concerns in the past few weeks with his coverage against specifically Tyler Lockett. That's where I get the concern is Lockett versus Lenore specifically.
Yeah, and I wrote an article for NinersNation.com. I don't know if you know Andrew Pasquini. We both write for NinersNation.com. The 2 X factors. And yes, Tyler Lockett profiled more as a slot receiver, especially when Marquise Goodwin was actually available. He's actually on IR. He took some snaps in the slot this past week, but Kate Johnson led them in snaps. So when I wrote my 2 X factors, my X factor was Jimmy Ward and Diamador Lenore because I am much more afraid of Tyler Lockett than I am DK Metcalf at this point. That's not to disparage DK Metcalf because I think he's a hell of a receiver. I'm talking about like styles make fights. Everybody's targeting Lenore, no matter what you think, right? Okay, offensive pass interference on the AJ Green play. Okay, fine. You know what? I'll give you that. The problem is that he's being targeted 8, 9, 10 times every single game. Every game. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. Every game. It doesn't matter who the receiver is either. Every game. Diamador Lenore is being targeted. Why is that? Okay. You're not going to try Mooney Ward. You're not going to try these linebackers. So who do you pick? You have to pick The only other people that are either second-year players, unproven, not as good. So it's Diamador Lenore. Yeah, Tyler Lockett has the most touchdowns on his team, most yards per reception. He has time in the slot, but K. Johnson is going to be mostly in the slot in this game. Tyler Lockett is going to have to flank. But it would have been way easier for me to sleep at night with this game if Jimmy Ward had a ton on Tyler Lockett, because Tyler Lockett ran, I think it was like 48% of his routes out of the slot, which still is a career low somehow. It's like nearly half, right? But yeah, I mean, look, let's just be clear. There is a weakness in this defense. There is. But that would imply that the weather was good. You're able to just continue to throw the ball. And that would imply that the 49ers are not aware of this on their side. So, look, it's a concern, but I'm still not wavering on where I am with these two teams. It's just a matchup that concerns. That's all. That's it.
Yeah, and even to let's say it's the weather's as bad as it is, you know, as they're thinking it's going to be in the pass game becomes irrelevant. I mean, who are you going to trust more? Jason Aponte, the second best run offense in the league against the 30th best run defense, or the 18th best run team in the league against the number 2 rush, or the 8th? The Niners are sorry, I said that wrong. Let's rewind. It's not live or nothing, Jason. The Niners are the 8th best rushing team against the Seattle Seahawks 30th best run defense. The Seahawks are the 18th best run team against the Niners second best run offense, whatever it is. Like, where does that come into play, right? Like, so that's my thing. It's, once again, no matter how you cut this pie, Jason Aponte, the weather, Brock Purdy, like, I just see this being a Niners win. And yes, this is a Niners podcast. Yes, have we picked the Niners in all 17 games this season? Yeah, sure, whatever. But when it comes down to it, man, the Niners are better than the Seattle Seahawks. And that's nothing against the Seahawks, man. I didn't realize last night, I know things changed with the 17th game, that Lockett and Metcalf both finished with 1,000 yards this season. The Niners didn't have 1,000 receivers this year. The Seahawks did.
And I think it was Lockett's like 14 or 15 yards away from Metcalf with like 12 less receptions or something like that. Like, it's so close. Like, when I did a deep dive into their numbers, man.
It is 15 less yards on 6 less receptions. But the big one is 24 less targets.
And he has more touchdowns, Lockett.
Yes.
So, you know, Tyler Lockett might be the most underrated receiver in the game. That is something that is completely debatable.
I think he's been that, because, like, how often has he even been considered the best receiver on the Seahawks with DK Metcalf, and who was the guy? But I feel so bad for getting his name. Doug Baldwin. Yeah, like, it feels like Lockett has just sneakily been their second best receiver for 10 years now, and nobody talks about him like they should. So there are places where the Seahawks have talent. We're not taking that away. It's just in terms of matching the San Francisco 49ers that we just watched for 17 games. I just have a hard time picturing that tomorrow is going to be one of the 10 times the Seahawks beat the 49ers.
Yes. I'm much more worried about Tyler Lockett than I am DK Metcalf, and Charvarius Ward doesn't even have to shadow him. You know, I think somebody made a good point in the chat. Frazzle him a little, and he completely loses his game. Jimmy Ward did it in 2020. I understand they won that game, but you could tell. And he was losing his mind against Mooney Ward in Week 15. So, yeah, you know, look, again, this is an evergreen statement. Take care of the ball, run the ball, play your defense. There's not many teams that can beat the San Francisco 49ers, much less the Seattle Seahawks at this point. So, look, a lot of shit talking's happening. You want to look back on this, you know, on this stream and say, well, they jinxed us.
Yeah, I know, right?
Nothing wrong with having confidence in your team that is clearly better. Like, I don't like, this is the thing that kind of baffles me a little bit. being humble is one thing.
Yes.
Understanding that anything can happen in playoff games is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you've watched this team win 10 straight games against playoff opponents, whoever, don't matter who's in front of them. And now is the week all of a sudden that because there's a little rain, oh my God, man, I don't know if I should root as hard. Like, what are you guys talking about at this point? Like, your team's better. You know your team's better.
Maybe the rain changed things because the Niners went from a 10-point favorite to a 9.5-point favorite, Jason Aponte. You think about that?
No, I didn't because I'm not betting on this game. If I'm betting anything, it's going to be 49ers money line. And that doesn't make you a lot of money because all the 49ers have to do is win. But again, when we predict the 49ers win, whether Andrew says it's 34-3 or I say it's 75-0, but the game ends up being 21-20, a win is a win. I don't care how it happens, and it doesn't matter.
I saw somebody earlier in the chat say, like, it's not a concern about how, if they win because they should win. It's just how they look. And it's like, man, if the Niners win tomorrow 3-2, they're going to the divisional round. Doesn't matter how they look. It comes to like literally like at this point, I know as podcasters and people who write about it, we do have to talk about like how the team looked in a win.
The fashion of the game and how they won.
But at this point, and we'll talk about how they looked, whether they won or lost on Monday when we come back live. But at the end of the day in the playoffs, it literally does not matter how you look. It comes down to, did you finish with more points than the opponent? Because if you did, you're going on. And that's all that matters. So like, I understand the concern. Once again, I understand the concerns. Playoffs, division game, Brock Purdy in a first playoff game. The rain, Jason Aponte, the rain. We have to build an arc to get to Levi Stadium because of the rain. But once again, when it comes down to it, the Niners are a more talented team than like I don't think we've said anything wrong about the Seahawks.
No,
we've given them credit.
In fact, we gave them too much praise.
We might have given them too much praise for how bad we believe the Niners are going to beat the Seahawks. But like once again, this is the playoffs, and I feel like if you are in the 14 teams making the playoffs, you must have done something right. So yeah, the Seahawks do deserve the credit for their season. It's just when it comes down to it, when you put the San Francisco 49ers against the Seattle Seahawks, the 49ers are probably going to win.
And to Mark, it's the mobile quarterback for me. Our D isn't the best against him. He's not mobile.
I think he's talking maybe in the future for potential Jalen Hurts.
Oh, that's different. Hey, listen, we'll cross that bridge.
That's a bridge.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there. There's only 2 quarterbacks that are left that are exactly mobile. That's Daniel Jones, and he's probably getting bounced this weekend, and Jalen Hurts, who you'll eventually see if you do in the NFC Championship game. So for me, I don't care about that. Again, week to week, right? What if the Philadelphia Eagles come out after a week and completely flop on their face against whoever it is that they face, and now the 49ers have a home game in the NFC Championship game against whoever it is. God hope it's like the Minnesota Vikings or the Dallas Cowboys.
The Giants. Remember, I drew it up how the Giants and Niners can meet in the NFC Championship game.
Right. I'm good. Yes. We'll worry about that when we get there. For me, look, again, there's nothing wrong. And look, I get it. Any given Sunday, Harold, I get it. Any given Sunday, Twitter's been out there, and you can come out every week, right?
Any given Sunday, but tomorrow's Saturday, and on Saturdays, the Niners kick the Seahawks' ass. That's just a fact.
That's true. So, and look, any given Sunday, yeah, whatever. But then when there's blowouts, you're not saying any given Sunday, right? You're just like, oh, we fucking knew that was gonna happen, right? It's any given Sunday is always revisionist shit. Like, it's always so it's like if the 49ers played a high school team and they blow them out, you're not saying any given Sunday. You're like, oh, we knew that was going to happen. It happens all the time in the NFL. So again, look, we're down to the nitty gritty at this point, right? Three straight times that you got to beat a team. Okay, that's something that you should probably put in your mind. But again, the Seahawks are here and the 49ers are here. The Rams were way closer. But Harold, I don't have to prepare for the opponent. I don't play. What I'm doing is I am telling you that if everything goes right, I believe in that team that I support, that we podcast for, that we write about.
Yes.
I don't care. I don't play. So
Yeah.
when if the 49ers go out there and they put out like a so-so effort and they win, well, Jason, you overestimated them. I didn't play. I didn't play a down. I don't care about that. You have more to talk to the team about than me. For me, if this team is who I think they are, and I do think they are a team that will at least make the NFC Championship, this game should be handed and wrapped up pretty easily. I'm not playing in this game. I don't care. I don't care, bro. I am going to put confidence in the team that I know is better than the other team. So if they come out so, whatever, lackadaisical, don't come yelling at me. Don't come yelling at me because I didn't play. Yell at me because maybe I guess I wasn't as humble, but like I expect the 49ers to do what they're supposed to do, and that's take care of the Seattle Seahawks. That's it, man. That's it.
To the any given Sunday point, the Niners and Seahawks have actually split their 2 games that have been played on Saturdays. 2003, the Seahawks beat the Niners 24-17 on a Saturday, and then 2011, the Niners beat the Seahawks. So I don't know. Do what you want with that information, Jason Aponte. Whom's revenge game, and it's a little tough. It's a little
This
tough
one's hard.
because so I have one. Michael Crabtree.
No, stop. Let me start first. Before you get into the deep stuff. Marquise Goodwin is on IR.
Yeah,
I get it. Right? That's your obvious one. Your special teams coordinator, Brian Schneider, it is time for you to get the Seattle Seahawks. And if you are the San Francisco 49ers, and I know Kyle Shanahan's watching,
yes.
I am looking dead at you. Pete Carroll's going to try a fake punt, a fake field goal, some stupid shit. And you better figure that shit out early on. I swear to God, I know for a fact that they were going to empty the tank. Brian Schneider, this one's on you, buddy. If there's any revenge game, it's yours. And what I want from you is, I want from you to tell your team a fake punt's coming, a fake field goal's coming, for you to notice something that they're going to try to do because they're emptying the tank. I mean, for God's sakes, the Seattle Seahawks in the first matchup ran a 4 running back formation in which one of the running backs threw a pass.
Yes. Which also is Mooney Ward's first interception with the Niners.
Yeah. Do not tell me that the Seattle Seahawks are not going to empty the tank. That is it. Make sure every single play, Brian Schneider, you have the entire defense, you have the entire special teams on guard because they are not going to just punt every single time. They literally scored their only touchdown in the 2 games on a special teams play. I am looking at you. This is your revenge game. Yes. Get revenge on those guys that didn't want you. They didn't believe in you. The 49ers did. God did. DJ Khaled did. All of those things.
Tyler, the Creator, did.
Do not let him do that to you.
Yes.
There. That's your revenge game.
And just to give you an idea, just to, like roughly, remember watching 17 football games last season in the regular season and then watching the playoffs and all of a sudden Trent Williams was running in motion? Things like that are going to happen. Steph, we love you. Just go follow her YouTube channel. Go follow her on Twitter.
Yes, please do.
Everywhere. Go follow her everywhere. But yeah, like Seattle's going to do things like, as I said last year when Kyle Shanahan had Trent Williams running in motion, things like that. I like absolutely. But yeah, so be on the lookout because Pete Carroll is going to pull some stuff tomorrow. Guarantee it. Yes. I'll be that guy, Jason Aponte. Hoops revenge game, Michael Crabtree.
Let's get it.
And listen, I want to prepare Niner fans for this. They're gonna show highlights. Be ready for it. Okay. So now that we've had the talk, I can't think of anything better for Michael Crabtree than the 49ers winning 65-7 tomorrow, because I think that would impress people. I'm trying to forget about that game, but because listen, let's speak factually. Second time in franchise history, the Niners have faced the Seattle Seahawks in the postseason. Yep. We know what happened the last one, Jason. I don't need to dive into it.
I don't.
We're gonna see the play. We're gonna see it. So I cannot think of a better outcome for Michael Crabtree tomorrow than the Niners winning 65-7.
This game is important for 49er fans.
Very.
For that reason. The Seattle Seahawks have inflicted a lot of pain on all of us. I don't want to go through all of them. There's a Thanksgiving game in which, you know, certain people were eating certain foods on the field.
Oh my god.
There were games, Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, where, you know, players got their souls snatched, all that stuff.
Yeah.
This is a
Chain
game
snatch
for the
too.
49ers. This is a game for the 49er fans.
Yeah.
Take it, have it be important for you because it's important for me. And you know what? I would have loved to have seen stupid idiot Russell Wilson on the other side of this just to exact
Yes.
some sort of revenge on him because he's such
Yes.
a cornball. Like, I think we hate them more just because of him.
Yes.
But this is a time to exercise some demons. This is a time. This is a time for us to eliminate them.
Yes.
They are happy to be here. They are playing the role of, we know that they're better than us, all that shit. No. Step on their necks. And this is time right now for us to dance on their graves, but also realize that Seattle's not going anywhere. They had a hell of a draft last year. They have a high pick because of Russell Wilson, because he sucks. Rich Madrid tried to tell you years ago, most geniuses are considered maniacs before they are realized, and that's Rich Madrid. This is a time for 49er fans to dance on their graves a little bit.
Yes.
And this is a time for us as 49er fans to not let up off them. Yes. Because we remember it all. We remember all the things they said.
Flashbacks.
Yeah, we remember all the things they said. We remember their stupid fucking podcasters and the things that they said after games, right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to see another meltdown and have them say at the end of the game, well, we were just happy to be here? No. We're not letting you slide. So, Niners fans, this shit's important. This shit means something. This shit means a lot.
Yes.
Fry those fucking Seahawks and do not let them get away with the stupid shit that they said year after year after year after year. Remember? I posted it. Your team is shit. You're not going anywhere. That stupid pencil dick fur person, whatever it is.
Let's not. Okay, hang on. We're on YouTube.
Sorry.
We good.
But yeah, we're not letting them slide.
Jason Aponte was feeling himself there. I love that.
Nah. I don't like that shit, man, because all they do all the time, those guys, is when the 49ers are not involved in 2020, is talk crazy. You're not involved in 2021. Yes. You're not involved in 2022, or now you are.
Yes.
But I don't let you slide on what you said, man. Now, all of a sudden, you didn't have to worry about the 49ers because Jimmy Garoppolo is coming back. You ain't know Brock Purdy was in the wings.
Yep.
So let's cook them. That's it, man. That's all I'm... Look, I want to pull up to their Hog Talk instant reaction.
No.
And I want to join and be in the comments and laugh and set them into meltdown mode. So this is bigger than just a win. The 49ers got this.
I referenced this on Monday, like the vibes from me, you, and Javi on that Zoom call when the Seahawks in 2020 lost to the Rams.
Jimmy Garoppolo's never lost in the first round.
Just watching all those reactions, it was great. Jason Aponte, we have 200 people here. It's a good time to remind the people. Have you ever seen? Oh well, now Jason sat up. He ruined the whole thing. I was going to say, have you ever seen a more relaxed podcast? Just two guys leaning back in their chair talking 49ers football. Great time to subscribe. Shout out Harold. Thank you for the donation. Great time to subscribe to Jason Aponte's YouTube channel. Great time to follow the Sprint Red Option podcast anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, wherever. Jason, let's get into the predictions. And I'm going to do something a little different. Just because it's the playoffs and there's a lot going on.
Yep.
Let's just give a quick prediction on the other 5 games. Real quick. Chargers.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
We don't need points. Just tell me who's going to win. Chargers, Jaguars. I got the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are playing really well. I like Lawrence. I like Herbert. I like both of these teams. This is probably, to me, the closest thing you have to a toss-up game this weekend. This one can go either way. I personally got the Jaguars because they're at home. Trevor Lawrence has been humming. That defense is looking good. I'll go with the Jaguars.
I got the Chargers, actually.
Okay.
I think Justin Herbert is ready to shed the narrative that he's a social media quarterback. I think that he's too good for people to disrespect him in that way. And Trevor Lawrence's time will come. And I think the Jaguars should be exactly happy about what they've done. But I do think Joey Bosa being back, Derwin James, who should have probably been all-pro at safety. Sorry, guys.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. But yeah, I got the Chargers in this one. I disagree with you, buddy.
Okay, that's okay. Hey, Dolphins, Bills. Who you got?
I got the Buffalo Bills, man. What are we doing here, man? I mean, look, not everybody can start their third quarterback and think that they have a chance in this game. Skylar Thompson's going to start. I mean, the Buffalo Bills seem like a team of destiny. I mean, they ran back a kick on their opening kickoff after what happened to DeMar Hamlin. Shout out to him, man. I'm glad that he's doing well. But give me the Buffalo Bills, man, in this one. I think this is too easy.
I'm driving to my friend's house Sunday morning to go watch this game with him. I've mentioned my friend Albert, Dolphins fan. I think my goal is tonight and tomorrow is to get so stoned I can talk myself into Skylar Thompson winning.
Nope.
I don't think I can get there. No one circles the wagon.
I don't think
like
there's
the
enough
Bills.
weed in the world for you to get to
really is not. No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Yep. Hey, Jason Aponte, I think the team across the street from you is going to beat the Vikings. I feel like this is the biggest trap game of the weekend. I think the Vikings caught a little bit of a break having this being the afternoon game. Kirk Cousins, a different quarterback in prime time than he is during the day. It took a 62-yard field goal for the Vikings to beat the Giants 2 weeks ago. Or not 2 weeks ago, a month ago. I think this is the time it happens. This is my one big upset pick of the weekend. The Giants pick to beat the Vikings.
Okay, I maybe this is stupid of me, but I think the Vikings get it done. I just think that there's too much of Justin Jefferson on the other side for them to do. I think the Vikings win this game. I mean, I would love for the Giants to do this, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I do think that the Minnesota Vikings got lucky by falling into the spot that they're in, because if they were facing the other team, let's say they were in the 2 seed and the Seattle Seahawks got in, they'd probably be in a little bit more trouble. But I'm you know what? Low key rooting for the Giants, but I do think the Minnesota Vikings get this one done.
Bengals Ravens close out Sunday Night Football. A third string quarterback playing, and probably that's the second to lose. Probably right. I think the Bengals win this one pretty easily.
Yes, I got the Bengals. Tyler Huntley's a great backup quarterback, and by all accounts, it looks like he's going to start. Yeah, man. I mean, the Bengals have just been winning games, and I think that while everybody's ready to crown Kansas City and Buffalo, it's like shit, man. The Bengals are playing really good football, man, and they haven't lost many games.
The Bengals pretty much did what they did last year, and that was they started slow, and then Zach Taylor realized, well, what if we just have Joe Burrow throw the ball a lot, and kind of worked. Weird how that happened. So Joe Bengals Burrow, last game of the not the weekend, but Monday, 3-day weekend, which, by the way, we need to talk about that at the end of the podcast, Jason.
Yep.
Cowboys, Buccaneers, and Jason Aponte, there's three guarantees in life, my friend.
Go for it.
Death, taxes, and Tom Brady beating the Dallas Cowboys. He's never lost to them in his career. That's not ending this Monday.
Yeah.
Buccaneers beat the Cowboys.
Give me the Bucks. On grass. This defense is getting gashed in the secondary. Tom Brady does not lose in the first round, man. This is not going the way that Cowboys fans wanted. Micah Parsons, again, this week is talking himself into being somebody he's not. You are not that guy, pal.
Yeah.
You are not that guy. Tom Brady finds a way to get this done, and we get to laugh at Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys, and they get to start their their hopeful trek to trading for Sean Payton, because Mike McCarthy will be fired after this game.
Yeah, and Paul makes a good point. Brady lost in the first round of his final season in New England. He probably wants to forget
that. Against Tennessee.
Yes,
I remember.
So this would be the second time if he has. But he doesn't typically lose in the first round. No.
He's going to beat the Cowboys. On grass, they are bad, and that secondary is ripe for the plucking, man. I mean, it's just Are you ready to bet against Tom Brady? Are you ready to bet against?
That's the thing. That's exactly the thing. And also, too, like, I'm so excited for the inevitable, Cowboys go up 20-3 at halftime and everybody like, oh, Tom Brady, done. And then Brady just does what he's done literally every week this season, that when we've said that and turns it around in the fourth quarter, something like that will happen. Jason, I don't talk wrestling much here. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, when there's a main event, it's the last match of the night. But a lot of people consider the first match of the night to be the second main event. And the first match of the weekend, 49ers, Seattle Seahawks, Levi's Stadium, monsoon, rain, sun, doesn't matter. Niners win 65-7. No, boy. I had us get out of Monday's podcast quick so I could watch the end of that game. What a bozo I am for watching that game Monday night. I'm going to go Niners 24, Seattle 7. I think that's my final score.
I've got the 49ers winning this one 24-7. I have a hard time figuring out how Seattle's going to score points in this one. Again, your team is better than they are. I mean, it's to a point where all caution, all that stuff should be thrown to the wind. I mean, this team has beaten every team that you can imagine in different ways. Come on, man. Just be confident in your team. That's it. Niners win. They win pretty handily. And Brock Purdy doesn't have to do too much. All the things that line up for a 49ers win, especially when you consider the weather.
Perfect. Jason, there is our wildcard weekend preview. Hopefully it's the first of 4 previews we do this postseason for the 49ers. A little bit of news earlier today, Jason Aponte. The AP came out with their first team and second team. Luis, thank you for the donation. Only 64 likes. Let's get to 100. Love the chill edition of today's pod. I love how we had the chillest. Thank you, Luis. We appreciate it. I love how we had the chillest podcast on what should be like a stressful playoff episode. But hey,
who's Val Brooks?
Here. Who's Val Brooks?
Is?
I don't know who that is. Who's Val Brooks?
Who's Val Brooks, Jan? Is she fine? If she's fine, then yes.
We're getting real.
No, Jan. If Val Brooks is fine, then yes. The answer is yes.
So the Associated Press came out with their first team and second team All Pros. The Niners had 4 representatives on the first team, 2 on the second team. Trent Williams, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, and Talanoa Hufanga on the first team. And the second teamers, George Kittle and George Odom, George and George, for special teams, made the second team. I know we have thoughts. And I'll say this, because I know people think we have an opinion on a certain player who made the first team, right, Jason Aponte? I will say this, though. I would gladly bump.
Left hand up.
Let's go. We love it. Who are we? Hey, don't spoil anything, Jason. I won't. I would gladly bump Talanoa Hufanga to second team All-Pro, where he probably belongs. I'm not trying to say he's not an All-Pro. To guarantee Dre Greenlaw the 1 vote that got him short of the second team. Because I think in terms of consistency throughout the season, I'm not saying Hufanga didn't deserve this acknowledgement. I think first team's a little high, especially if you watch the last month and a half of Hufanga. I feel like Greenlaw was more consistent throughout the entire season. I think he should be bumped up to the second team. Outside of that, I think the 6 players were right. I think these are the 6 players, especially the special team side. We don't talk George Odom. We don't talk special teams much here. He definitely deserved the recognition. I think the 6 players were right. I think the 7th should have been Dre Greenlaw.
Hold on. Jan says the blonde who commented on State of the Franchise and told all of us to chill. That's not my girl. I mean, if she was my girl, she wouldn't tell y'all to chill. She would be telling y'all to get hype. Like I'm not allowing
we are relaxed here.
Yeah, I'm not allowing a woman in my life to, calm my hype for the 49ers. That's not happening. But
anyways, what are your thoughts on first team and second team AP, Jason? About that?
Yeah, Nicholas Bosa, Fred Warner. I mean, what are we talking about? Of course, right?
Yes.
I think CMC is an absolute snub. at this point.
Yeah, I forgot about eight players should have been from the Niners.
Yeah. CMC's an absolute snub. This is ridiculous. I don't know what more you need to see from the young man. As far as Hufanga goes, look, it's no secret that Andrew and I had concerns going into the season in terms of Hufanga and his coverage, and it didn't show up earlier in the year. That's probably more of the reason that he's an all-pro than the latter half of the season.
Yes.
Happy for him.
Yeah.
Love that for him. But Derwin James, Jordan Poyer, Justin Simmons, I could think of other safeties that I feel should feel like they're snubbed at this point. And look, he's 22. He's got a long career ahead of him, still left in this league. He'll have many chances to make other all-pro teams. I just think that a lot of this voting must have ended after a certain week. Unless
well, I think I saw that week 15 might have been the cutoff or something. I saw something about games missed after week 15 weren't count or something like that. I forget. Let me see if I can find exactly when the all-pro voting is.
So my thing is this: if the writers, the Pro Football writers, were actually watching the tape, they probably couldn't have come away with the fact that he would have been an all-pro. Look, happy for you, Huff. Great. That's amazing. It's an accolade. Throw it up on your wall. But in the same way that we campaign for people who are snubbed, Dre Greenlaw, Christian McCaffrey, you still have to feel like as a football fan that there were other safeties that were much more deserving. Justin Simmons, Derwin James. Shit, Jordan Poyer has the same amount of interceptions, and Jordan Poyer's missed 4 games.
Yeah.
And he doesn't give up touchdowns. So again, look, I'm not trying to talk crazy about the guy. I'm happy for him, but it's just 49er fans are now using this to confirm their priors without looking at the overall body of work. And there's been plenty of players who have played well for stretches, and then when they don't play well later on, have been taken to task. So it's just, there's something about criticizing Hufanga that is a hot button issue everywhere. Everywhere. Like
the Brandon Belt of the Niners, dare I say.
Right. Like, you can't say anything bad about him. Ever. Even when he does something completely wrong.
Yeah.
And it's funny because 49er fans criticize Jimmy, criticize the coach, criticize running backs, criticize linemen, but you can't say anything about Talanoa Hufanga. Ever. Ever. And I don't know why it is such a sensitive subject. If you judge players the way that you do, and you judge them and you watch them and you judge them fairly, why is it that we can't ever talk about him in a negative light if he's not playing well? And he hasn't been playing well lately. He just has not been playing well.
He definitely had bright spots this season. There were plenty of them, but the recent play has been a concern. I don't think my issue necessarily is he's on the first team. I don't personally have any issue. I don't vote, but I think a second team nod. I mean, you mentioned Poyer, you mentioned Simmons. Like, they definitely are. They deserve to be there, and that's my thing. So we'll leave it at that. I think that's a pretty good conversation. All 6 players very well deserving of all-pro nods and definitely highlights of their career. Maybe not as much for Trent Williams.
Good for Hufanga, man. Great for him.
Absolutely.
Man. Now get back to where you were earlier in the season.
Yes, I think that's the best way to say that. Absolutely. So, Jason, Monday might look a little different for us to review this game. I don't have work, and the Niners, the Buccaneers and Cowboys, they play at the time we usually stream. So expect our Seahawks review game to be a little earlier in the day. Jason Aponte and I will figure that out when we get to it. We'll let you guys know when that. I just threw my pin. Wow, that was amazing. Wow. I just, like, you saw that too. I was just swinging that pin and I threw it. That was unbelievable. I don't even know where it went. Anyways, so we'll be live probably earlier in the day on Monday so we could watch the playoff game Monday night, and you guys can watch the playoff game on Monday night. So be on the lookout for that. That's all I got. That's all I got.
Andrew.
Niners have a playoff game tomorrow. How electric is that?
Andrew, 2 straight years. We're going
years.
into 2 straight years of playoffs, 2 straight years of nobody believed in us. God did all those things.
What's crazy is this is year 2 of 20 in a row because Purdy's going to become the next Tom Brady, and they're just going to win 7 Super Bowls.
I mean, Streets is
we're going to be doing this for
already,
a while.
Purdy's already better than Montana. So
I heard they already have a day named after him. They were calling the day like Friday the 13th or
Friday
something.
the 13th. Hey, listen, Friday the 13th for Jason's. I'm completely impervious, but I do want you guys to realize the rules on Friday the 13th, so you do stay alive. No premarital sex, no drugs.
Where are we going here with this?
All right, Andrew. We need to have a discussion about 80s horror films. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So Friday the 13th, Halloween, whatever 80s horror film.
Yes.
If you ever notice, the person who lives at the end of the movie is the person who never partaked in any sort of mischievous behavior, drinking, drugs, sex, anything like that. And the people that die are the people that are, trying to get it on in the barn. Then all of a sudden, Michael Myers comes in and, your head's cut off. And, so look, if you want to survive on Friday the 13th, either be named Jason, like me, or no premarital sex, no drugs, no alcohol, and you'll be fine.
I'm in danger.
Andrew Pasquini, lock your doors, lock all of your windows, everything. But yes, the 80s horror movies were very subliminal in trying to teach kids about what they shouldn't do, because and it's funny, the way that they thought it was don't do drugs or a absolute boogeyman is gonna bust in your house and murder you in a horrible way. Like that was their way of doing it.
I can't think of a better way to. I can't wait. Think of a better way to finish this podcast. Jan, thank you. Yeah, exactly. There we go. Jan, thank you for the donation. With all the talents under contract, we're going to be doing this for at least 3 years. Give me 20.
Let's talk, Jan. Yeah, look, and you know
minimum
what?
20.
Again, look, I want to say this, and I want to make sure I say it now. If the 49ers don't make the NFC Championship game, at least, then it's a disappointment. Anything after the NFC Championship game is money at this point. Yeah. But when you look at the NFC, nobody's scared of anybody. There's a tier. It's Philly, it's the Niners, and then it's everybody else. At this point, with the people that they have on the contract, with the cap increase, what they're able to do. I mean, if you come back next year with Brock Purdy and Trey Lance as your quarterback room, that is the cheapest quarterback room that will give you the biggest return, and you will be able to do things cap-wise next year that so
especially when they bring in Jameis Winston, be the third quarterback on league minimum.
Yeah, there you go. And I mean, and Jameis will be there just to eat W's. So
and get a ring.
Yeah, and get a ring. So yeah, I mean, look, this is the thing: is be excited about this team, be excited about the future, but be excited about this team, and just know that there's some good things on the way, and Kyle Shanahan's your coach, so buckle up.
Yeah. Buckle up. I see a lot of new names. If you haven't already, subscribe to Jason Aponte's.
Look,
I do. Oh my God! Listen, man. Listen, man. Amy, we're having fun.
Look. He's dead ass serious too. Go, Andrew. He's dead ass serious too. Go.
Oh my God! Listen.
Go.
I think the reason Brock Purdy is actually better than Joe Montana's ever been, Iowa State, just more of a football pedigree than Notre Dame. I really think that Montana stinks. He just I don't even think Purdy and Montana should be in the same conversation. How many times did Joe Montana go 5-0 in his first career start?
Andrew, I just love the fact that the sarcasm that I laid on so thick, so clear, was still lost. It's just oh my goodness, man. God bless 49ers fans. God bless you YouTube commenters, man. I love you guys. You guys are the reason that we're able to cook. But yes, man. Brock Purdy clears Joe Montana. Has Joe Montana won 5 straight starts to start his career?
Did Joe Montana have receivers like Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk? did he even have any good receivers?
Did Joe Montana score 30 plus points in his 5 appearances, 4 of the 5 times. I mean, get cooked, old man. And I don't care what anybody has to say at this point.
You can't even rhyme Joe with phallic words. What are we even talking about here, Jason Aponte? Hey, anyway,
Andrew Pasquini, we'd get cooked for such a sarcastic remark. But you know what? Let's just run with it, man. Purdy clears Montana, man. I mean, he's faster. His 10-yard splits are faster. He has a better arm. I mean, my God, man, stop living in the past. I mean, how many Super Bowls has Joe Montana won in the 2000s? 0. I'm tired of you guys talking about Joe.
How many playoff games has Brock Purdy lost?
None. I mean,
he's lost at least one.
You know, and Joe Montana lost in the NFC Championship. Has Brock Purdy ever done that? 0. I mean, shit. I mean, we can do this all day, man. I mean, Joe Montana has lost NFC Championship games, and Jimmy Garoppolo's won championship games. We can do this all day. We can do this all day.
We can. Was Joe Montana really that good? If his name is Joe Idaho, is he even that good? Like, just so many things you can change.
I think piece. Brock Purdy clears Joe Montana on Niners Nation.
Jared, we're being very sarcastic. We are being very, very sarcastic.
Who is so was dead serious? Oh my goodness gracious! Yeah.
All right, so Kyle, hat is very clean. I got very bad news.
Tell him how much that hat costs. Tell him how much it costs.
This was a $75 hat.
$75
because they only made 75 of them. So it's very difficult. Actually, you know what's kind of amazing is there's a coffee shop down the street from we're officially off the rails. I love it. There's a coffee shop down the street from my apartment. I walked in. I shit you not, a dude was wearing this hat. So the fact that 2 of the 75 hats are in Sacramento, that's pretty amazing, I think.
Averly is watching her dad on YouTube right now, probably, on her TV because she's probably not asleep. And she's watching a guy who paid $75 for a hat. And my whole outfit probably didn't cost $75 right now. I mean, that is some rich people shit right there.
Hey man, quad pay. You were the one who introduced me to quad pay, my friend.
Listen, all I want to know is this. All I want people to walk away from this episode is this. The 49ers clear the Seahawks. Brock Purdy is the best quarterback in the history of the San Francisco 49ers, and he's only played 5 starts.
16-8 has nothing to do. Nothing to do. Nothing on
No. Brock Purdy clears Joe Montana. Stop living in the past. That man hasn't won a playoff game in the 2000s. He hasn't won a Super Bowl
playoff game in what, 30 years?
I mean, he hasn't won a Super Bowl since 1980 something, man. It's just like, all right, man. Like,
wasn't even alive.
I mean, at what point are we going to start living in the future?
Who goes further in the playoffs right this second? Brock Purdy with this 49er team or Joe Montana right now with this 49ers team? You tell me.
Brock Purdy, because Brock Purdy doesn't wear Skechers. I mean, I mean that's it. That's probably your biggest indication that this quarterback is not ready to lead this team at this point. And also the fact that Joe Montana flip-flops all the time. He's just like, you know what? I love Trey Lance. I hate Trey Lance.
This podcast ended 25 minutes ago. I love this. Listen,
I just love that someone was so mad and they were like, wait a minute, how dare you?
For the audio listeners at home, if you've never watched a video, and we said, and you've wondered, hey, what's After Dark like? I don't listen to those. You don't put them on. This is the closest thing you get to After Dark on audio. This is where we're going to end as well. Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's go Niners, man. And make sure that you are excited. Know that your team is, and also left hand up.
Left hand up. See you guys Monday.
Let's go. Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.